Today we're going to be having a look at a game which is being released on the 26th of April into early access. Many of you probably have seen me playing it over the last few weeks, doing a lot of videos and having a great deal of fun with this game. Manor Lords, highly anticipated, some 3 million people on a wish list are waiting for this game to be released. So it's coming with a lot of hype, a lot of expectation, and in my opinion the game meets a lot of that expectation if your expectation is in the right place, that is. So let's dive in and have a look at what Manor Lords is and is not. This is the new game setup. Quite a lot of customization in here. You can pick from multiple different characters, quite a few to pick from, but the biggest thing that I like, other than being able to change your name and all the standard sort of thing, is the coat of arms. You've got all these different styles up here, which really sets out how you could design your coat of arms. You see here you got fields A, fields B. That splits the shield into half. You can actually change what's on each side of the shield. You can actually change the background as well to whatever you prefer. The amount of customization is just huge. You've got so many different icons here that you can use. Even when you go to four segments, you've got all these fields A to D, and you can just go around and customize each one. You can change the primary color, secondary color for the background, and you can change the color for the symbols. You can make it green. You can make the secondary color red. You can change the actual number of instances. So you can see you can change there to like lots of little flowers by the look of it. Or you can just have one big one. You can also change the scale, making it larger and smaller. And you can do that for each field. You can see that. So you can have like lots of little dragons, a few dragons, and changing the scale, smaller, bigger. So let's put a few little dragons there, and you can make them larger like that, small. You can see the amount of possible combinations here is just huge. So, and I'm sure this is just the very tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a lot more coming in future updates, and I'm sure eventually modders will have a field day with this type of thing. So but there's plenty here to play with already, and you can also save them. So if you come up with really unique designs, you can save them so that you can recall them later and play around with them. So yeah, very detailed. So once you have your coat of arms and you picked your player, click continue. In the early access, we had access to 3 scenarios. I don't know if there'll be more upon the release or not. I played this one, restoring the piece mostly, because this gave a balance of being able to build the game, explore the game with some combat. It wasn't a like total, I guess, combat scenario, or where you're constantly under pressure from low resources and game events, which would make the game very difficult to play when you're first learning. So I found that was a good one. This one, Rise to Prosperity, is just about building your economy, building your town. So if you want a nice, slow-paced game where you don't have to worry about bandits and enemy armies attacking you, then that's a good one to play. And On the Edge is basically you're on the edge of survival or death. So in this scenario, you've got to survive all the attacks and reach a large town settlement. So, and plus you got to survive all the harsh events as well. There's more droughts, there's more food scarcity and resource scarcity, and more bandits attacking and burning down your villages. Now, on top of these scenarios, you've got these different settings here, which automatically change the settings for each scenario to however you want to play. If you want a nice relaxing play, it'll set it automatically for you. That's the default settings, which is normal. And challenging. So you can see here, if you want challenging, change it to there. This one, put it on challenging. So end goal is conquest of all regions. So off map adversary is absent. Rate of frequency is frequent. What does it change it to? None, medium, frequent. Possibly less than a year between each raid. Okay, so raid of 3 years. This is at the start of the game where it'll give you a period to build your city up so that you can actually get forces ready. And the game is quite hard to build up your forces initially in those first few years, getting enough money and resources to actually be able to defend yourself and fight off the raiders. So this would be quite challenging. Raids happened after 1 year. I was playing it 2 years, and that's probably all right. I could probably do a little bit less. 3 years, 4 years. So you can change it all however you like. But every 1 year would be pretty good. Initial bandit camps too, so you can change the settings to how many bandit camps on the map. And what happens here is each bandit camp or each group of bandits can actually raid your village, but you can't really stop them. They just sort of sneak in at night and steal some food and some resources from you, which if it happens in the middle of winter can really hurt you badly. Random bandit camp spawn limit 5, so you can change the random spawn limit to once you start killing bandit camps, then they can respawn, and that's the maximum spawn. Starting season, if you start in winter, that's going to be really, really difficult. So you can choose when you're going to start. Most games tend to start in the spring, after winter's passed, to give you about 9 months before winter comes. So yeah, if you want a hard game, start in winter or leave it random. Starting supplies, you can also change. Starting with nothing would be very, very difficult. Armament delivery, none. There are some events in the game which give you delivery of armaments. Demanding requirements, this is your residential requirements, so they demand a lot more food and luxury resources, things like clothing, food, then you're going to have a lot of problems meeting that. High approval penalty, these are things like if they lack resources or lack certain facilities, then their approval rating goes down, which affects how many people move into your village. Things like that. It affects how fast you're basically going to be able to grow and snowball in the game. So that can be a real kick in the teeth approval. Well placement, underground water. That just shows how much underground water supply you've got. I didn't find water to be particularly difficult part of the game. Put down the well. Seemed to be fine. Weather events difficult. So this will make droughts happen in the summers. Thunder strikes will cause fires when you have storms and burn your houses and buildings down, and rain instantly damages exposed supplies. So if you don't have granaries and storage things, any supplies out in the weather will be destroyed or badly soiled. That's how all the starting settings. There's quite a lot. You've only got one map at the moment. I'm assuming there's going to be more. There's also this button here, more coming soon for different scenarios. It says AI city building is still under rework. So that's where the AI actually builds their own cities. Manor Lords. Here is Manor Lords in all its glory. This is a game that I've been playing for about a week or so. Building up my town. Well, I think it's nearly a large village now. You can see it's a very scenic. And what you can see in all these lands here, all this land is buildable. It's playable. It's a really nice environment. So the graphics in Manor Lord, you can see for yourself, they're quite good. They're very, very, very authentic. And I was actually watching the movie last night, The King. That was made a few years ago. And a lot of the buildings I saw in there, in France, looked very similar to these buildings. I was surprised how similar it actually looked. So I think it's from about the same time period. Although these buildings are more Central European rather than French. But the aesthetics are very, very realistic for the time period. So what is Manor Lords? Manor Lords is basically a game where you are in a 3D city builder environment, and this is where the game tries to keep you. It has multiple regions. This is basically your world map. You can see here I've got a number of regions here, 4 regions. You only start off with 1, and I've expanded into 3 towns here. And I just recently conquered another region up there. So Manor Lords is about resource gathering, survival. You start off with just one little camp, a couple of tents, and 5 people, and you've got to try and grow your city and grow your resources. You can see here I've got construction resources, food, firewood, there's some crops there, crafting materials, commodities, and weapons. And that's only my surplus. My total is actually this for just this region. So you can see how much more total I've got. That totals everything in the houses, the storage yards, where the resources are being made. So you can see I've got quite a lot. There's quite a lot of weapons I've been crafting and making. What I enjoy about Manor Lords is it's a really immersive game. There's no loading screens. It's just zoom out to the map with your mouse wheel, scroll wheel, and zoom in. And you just can scroll over the map and fly over the map to your next village, where here's a bit of a farming village for me. This was my second town. I've been building up steadily over time. You can see there's just no loading screens, it's just all zooming, and you can see on the real map, you can see here, there's my main town, there's my second town, and maybe over in the distance, maybe we could see my third town. You can just see my third town over there in the distance. So you can see how it's just one world map, and you can build all through this, chop it all down, use all the resources. A little bit smaller village here, still only just a little level 1 village. This is a good idea of what you can build up to in the first year or so of the game, or 2 years of the game, when you're trying to start from the beginning and set your village up. So Manor Lords is a 3D city builder at heart. It's designed to keep you in this environment. It's not designed to keep you in spreadsheets and databases and trying to work out the best possible min-max of some type of resource by manipulating the database. It's meant to be played in this open environment, and you're going to spend the bulk of your time building your city and managing the resources, trying to get enough food supply so you can last the winter, enough resources so that you can build your town, build the buildings that you want to build, upgrade the tiers to the next level of building. And so here you got certain requirements to meet to upgrade to level 2, and you need to meet certain requirements here. We need more clothing to be able to upgrade to tier 2. On each of the farms you can actually build certain, each of the houses rather, you can build certain backyard facilities, vegetables, chickens, goats and apples once you've got them. These are actually upgrading to actual buildings themselves, turning them to artisans, where you can produce resources in the actual houses. So I'll show you a little bit more of that back in my main village. So a tier 2 building looks like this. These are tier 2 buildings. And you can see some of them have got, well, all of them have got backyard production. These ones are goats. These ones are chicken coops. These ones are vegetables. I'm sure if you've been watching a few videos, you've seen all this. And these larger buildings are tier 3. And that's the limit of what we can do in early access at the moment. But if you've watched the trailers, you can see there's actual stone buildings and higher tier buildings in the future game. So whether that's in release on the 26th or not, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see and find out. So Manor Lords is also a military game. It has some military units, such as your retinue, which you build in your manor house. Well, they live in your manor house at least. So your retinue is like your knights. They're like your personal guard, and you can customize them here. Unfortunately, I had a big battle before and I lost 10 of my knights. But here, this is where you buy them. You buy them from using your own treasury to purchase them, but you can customize them. So if I buy a new knight here, that's how they start off with. You can spend money to upgrade them. Then you can actually customize their body. You can change their colors to whatever you prefer. You can change their weapons around within whatever range they've got. You can change their shield. You can change the colors on their shield. They're here. So if you want to make it all a similar color, you can do that. Or if you want to make it a different color, you can do that. You can change the helmet depending on the style of armor you got. So you can make all these knights exactly the same if you wanted to. You can't make all the weapons the same. They do have different types of different types of weapons. I'm not sure if that'll be customizable in the future. You can see here there's some different options. Recruit ministerials. Promote one of your citizens to your retinue. So this is locked in early access, so we can't do that. So you can actually recruit from your population. When you buy a knight, you're not actually recruiting from your population. You're buying from outside your population. You can rename them, so you can change all these around to suit however you want to use it. In here there is a locked area. This looks like it's going to be gained with experience, or maybe unlocked with points to give your troops different abilities. So that's a nice feature. To mobilize your retinue, you just pick a rally point. Let's see them rally. They all run out. There is a little bit of issues with the pathing at the moment. Whether they've fixed that or not, I don't know. Sometimes they run through the fences, and other times they will use the gates. And as you saw, a couple run around there. And that's my knights at the moment. You can rally the rest of your army. Let's rally them. Let's rally these guys and tell them to rally here. And you'll actually see all the people running from their village, getting their weapons and running to go and form up. You can see all the people running here. And this is after quite a large battle I had earlier, so I did lose a number of people in that battle, but I did win it. And you can select the different groups, and you can drag and change their positions to however you like, whichever way you want to face it. You can turn them around this way. There you go, and the army is assembled. You can also do a first person view, like a visit mode. This is you, the Lord. You can inspect your army, you can walk around and inspect your town. I love the seasons, the rain, the winter. The game really mimics the change in the seasons very, very well. I do just love spending time in the environment, listening to the music. Some of the music is just fantastic in this game. I could just sit here all day listening to it. So you inspect your troops. I like how it's even like you see the rain off the house roofs. You can see it on the road. You can see the puddles forming on the roads. Everything gets more muddy and more soggy. You can see how detailed the game is. Here's an ox. Just lots of little details. Just makes the game very immersive and relaxing to play, fun to play. And I guess that's the best thing you want from a game. There's so much potential for this game. I can just see in the future the different skins and different types of armies. Like maybe there'll be a Viking DLC, or people make mods on that and just change the skins of buildings to more Viking music. Now that'd be something good for the future. Oh, it's an outhouse. The old dunny, like we call them. Just fantastic. So let's have a look at a battle in Manor Lords. So here I have my army assembled. This is my knights in the centre, 36 knights. I've got two groups of spearmen, one on the right, one on the left. I've got archers in the centre behind. Now we have a group of brigands approaching. 4 groups of brigands. These are the type of raids that you can expect to come in on, if you set the game on harder difficulties, these will come in much sooner and raid your villages. And if you don't have the forces to stop them, they will burn your entire town to the ground. So Yeah, and I've got some mercenary spearmen coming in over here. Not that I really need them, but I thought I'd buy them anyway, just to have a bit bigger battle when I was planning this. Now, with your armies, you can set them to balanced. This is your stances. Missile alert, where they'll protect themselves against missiles. Stand their ground, with a stronger defensive. Push forward, where they'll try and push forward with their full force. You can also set them to run, so they can chase the enemy down. Hold, or give ground. If you're losing ground, you can slowly pull back if you're waiting for more forces. And each setting gives you slightly different resources. I have seen as well another setting where you can set shield wall. If you've got multiple spearmen unit, you can make them set as shield wall. You can also spread them out to avoid missiles, but they make them less effective fighting units. So you can make it like a shield wall unit. We'll look at that in a minute. Let's have a look at the battle and see how that goes. Your archers, you can also set different settings. You can set shoot at will, or you can target them. You can do friendly fire mode, so you can fire when your troops are engaged in battle, but you might kill some of your own people, unfortunately. Alright, let's have a look. You can see the arrows start firing and the soldiers start cheering. Kill them all. Oh no, they've actually retreated. Some of them retreated. What we'll do is we'll push back here. Move the spearmen over here to engage. Teams have pushed over here. Let's push over here. Let's turn our archers on friendly fire mode, huh? See if they'll actually fire. No, let's move them around there. Move the spearmen into the rear, attack from the back. And then actually push forward if you want to get the battle over faster. You can see here the actual close range fighting is very realistic. And if you watch closely, you'll see soldiers getting impaled, blood splatters on the ground, blood splatters on some of the soldiers. I like the talk from the soldiers. It's really good. It's like a real battle. I'll chop you to pieces. There we go. They're all retreating by the look of it. So brigands don't have much armor, so if you've got armored forces like this with good weapons, then yeah, and you can see the bodies on the ground. You can see there, blood splatters. And when you actually watch some of the battles, I've seen the actual soldiers impale them, and then the guy like makes a sound, falls over to the ground, and there's blood splatter everywhere. So it can be quite realistic, And yeah, these battles did turn into big, like I guess like in Game of Thrones, Battle of the Bastards, big balls of men just hacking each other to death. And you can see here all the bodies from the battle. And when you do mobilize your army like this takes people away from your economy. If you're losing people dead from your villages, then they're people that could be producing things and building things. So you're taking a hit to your economy, reducing your available workforce. Here's our spearmen. Let's just have a look at the shield wall. Let's form up here. And I want you to form shield wall. So shield wall, what does it say? Soldiers form a tight defensive formation. The block value immediately adjacent allies is added to each soldier's own block value. Slows the unit down significantly. So they should take less damage, but it makes them slower. So I guess as the game progresses and we get bigger shields, it might look like a Spartan unit or something like that, I guess. Or the elves from Lord of the Rings when they do their shield wall. Yeah, I love the graphics, love the battles, and it makes it really when you have a battle and you name individual knights and soldiers and you actually lose them, it really becomes like, oh, you've really lost a part of your village, you really lost a part of your game you've had a long time, and you realise losing people is just so costly because you understand how long it takes to build up your city and build up the population. Alright, so I don't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to give an overall look at the feel of the game, the style of the game. Manor Lords is not an in-depth strategy game. It's not an in-depth grand strategy, or it's not a total war. It's not, you know, your all-out military game. It is a city building game primarily in this 3D landscape with some battles and challenges, and you can increase those challenges how you like in the difficulty level. So you just need to make sure of what your expectations are and what type of game. If you want a game where you can just build your village up, face challenges and survival, have great aesthetics, music, and have a sense of achievement, and it's very relaxing and immersive with some combat, then this is the game for you. If you're looking for a total war type game with lots and lots of combat, this is not the game for you because it doesn't have lots and lots of combat. You're going to spend hours building up your village, building up your resources and production population, and you might face raids and bandits in the early part of the game, but you're not going to have big armies like this for some time. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you want to purchase this game. Now, and also keep in mind that the game is being released in early access mode, and the developers have said that the first few weeks the game will be about a 10 to 25% discount normally from Hooded Horse. So they take that into account when they release a game in early access. You will get it cheaper than it will be when you have the finished product, whenever that may be. So there will be features missing from the game, like some of the tech tree. You can see here that some of it's still locked out. It's not available in early access, at least not in this press version of the early access. So you can see here some of these things are locked out, and a lot of this is locked out, so I don't really know what this is. I haven't really used these because I didn't find them that effective, and there's nothing there at all. But I have seen a lot of buildings and units in the trailers and videos which are not part of this release, so that means there's probably a lot more to come yet, and we'll see how much is actually released on the 26th. So for me, my review of this game is I love it. I really do love it. I think it is a very immersive game. I can see myself spending many hundreds of hours playing over the near future and exploring it and just trying to build your cities and build up your economy and have fun having battles and wars. But it's mainly about building. It's mainly about growth. So is that the game that you want? Only each of you can decide for yourselves. All I can say is I haven't had any crashes since the game, since I installed this game. It was only about 13 gigabyte download for me. So quite small download for what this game is, because it doesn't have a lot of videos and media and things like that. So it's all just this in-game universe. I haven't had any bugs which causes crashes and things like that. So everything's worked flawlessly for me. And listen to this music. I just love this music. So that's Manor Lords, everyone. I hope you enjoy it. If you want to play it when it's released in just another day or so, I very much enjoyed it. I think it's very well worth the expenditure. They've said it's not going to be a AAA price on release, so it's up to you whether you want to spend your money on it or not, but I think it's really worthwhile if you like city builders and you like a bit of combat, a bit of action to go along with it. It's like City Skylines with combat, really, in the medieval ages. So that's my opinion of it anyway. I'm very happy with it. I'm happy to spend a bit of money on this game and to buy future DLCs and things like that when they happen. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button for me, hit the like button with the algorithm, leave some comments on what you think about this game and whether you plan to buy it or not. If you have any questions, I do have the Discord channel, which is in the description of the video below. Feel free to join and ask me any questions you like, and maybe some other people offer their own opinions as well on what they think of the game. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.